In the gospel text of today, which is taken from the Gospel of John chapter 3 verses 7 to 15, the dialogue with Nicodemus continues. However, even as the dialogue goes deeper and deeper, Nicodemus continues to put a stop to the dialogue by asking again and again, how is that possible? How can? And the Lord tries to explain to Nicodemus that if this is the level of Nicodemus, who is supposed to be a great teacher, who is supposed to be an intellectual, and Jesus is talking now only of earthly things, he has not yet reached heavenly things, then how will Nicodemus be able to understand when Jesus speaks of heavenly things? Jesus is not speaking philosophy. Jesus is not speaking theology. Jesus is speaking practically about who his God is. Nicodemus had an image of God who would take a person to task if the person did not follow the rule. And Jesus is proclaiming a God of love, a God of mercy, a God of forgiveness. And that is why Nicodemus cannot understand. Nicodemus would gain his merit because of the external work that he did. He would fast twice a week, he would give alms, and he would pray. And that is how Nicodemus thought he would earn his merit from God. And Jesus says that there is no need to earn anything from God, because whatever God gives is given gratis, is given free. But because Nicodemus believes that he has to earn God's favor, that he has to be righteous before God in order to be accepted by God, he will continue in his way. And Jesus says, no, what you need to understand is that you are accepted by God, and that is why you are righteous. Your righteousness is not a condition for God to accept you. Your goodness is not a condition for God to love you. However, it is a consequence. It is what happens to me after I experience God's forgiveness, after I experience God's love, after I experience God's mercy. And in the last verse that we will hear today, Jesus summarizes this when he says, just as Moses lifted up the bronze serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up. This word hupsu, which is translated in English as lifted up, can mean on the one hand lifted up on the cross to be crucified. It can also mean exalted into heaven. John has deliberately used this verb to mean both things. So even as Jesus is lifted up on the cross, he is being exalted into heaven, and the result is that everyone who believes in him will have eternal life. This is the eternal life which Jesus invites Nicodemus to. This is the eternal life that he is inviting us to. Will we gaze at the Christ who is lifted up and see in him our hope and our salvation?